I think it's just how to be a pro. Spoke about it a million times. Just the way he conducts himself on and off the court, the time he puts in, the gym, and second to none. And, there's a reason he's played for 23 years, and if he wants to, he can play for I would say a couple more. But just the professionalism, the way to carry yourself every day.
It was a hold up though. What was it like finally getting out there to play? How did you feel?
Felt good. I've been bored for a little over a month now, and sitting on the bench sucks. I think all I did for the month and a half was yell at the refs. That's no fun. It's better to yell at them on the court. But no, it's good to get back out there, run around, feel the energy, play the game I love.
Was it more mental or physical? You making sure to come back and play? Or was it both of those?
Both. I wanted to make sure I was, 100% good. Really wanted to play the other night against the Knicks. Love playing there. Wish I, could have been able to get out there and help the team, but just didn't feel right. And woke up this morning, felt really good, and gave it the go, right before the game, and had fun.
Austin, I know you put on a little muscle and weight in the offseason. JJ said that you were doing a little bit more lifting this last month and change. Did you feel like you added a little bit more strength you can kind of sustain for the rest of the season?
Jesus, that's all I did for the month was lift. I just love lifting. It's just, I felt like I was able to, get in, work on some things. And, I think, it's something that, I had the opportunity to do because of the injury. You never want to be hurt, but, you always got to look at the positives and find ways to, get better as you're, still, working to get back.
You kind of view the all parts are connected type of game of basketball?
Oh, that ain't your hand. Okay, never mind. All right, what'd you say?
I know, like, the way you play the game is not individual effort. It's all the parts fit together. But the time you've been out and seeing the team go through some of its ups and downs, did you, identify ways that you as a group could fit into the group and, perhaps get you guys back to the level you showed earlier?
I think it's just giving us another, body, that can make plays, make the right play. When you have Luka and LeBron, the attention of everybody's defense is going to be on them, the majority of the time, and you get to play advantage basketball, and it just gives us another, opportunity with the player to, you play that advantage basketball. But I thought we, played really good in spurts and not so good in others, but just the ups and downs of the years. You're not gonna play perfect every game. There's learning curves throughout the year, so just happy to be back.
LeBron is saying that this team is getting healthy. Besides high therapy that you all go after the game, what are the main tips to take care of your bodies?
Sleep. That's exactly what I'm about to do on this plane. Plane ride, 6 hours of good sleep. I will not be doing anything else but sleeping. So that's the main thing, is to get some rest.
Last question.
What do you feel like you've been able to kind of learn the most from the coaching staff in your time out?
I mean, I'm sure they're sick of me talking to them. In the month that I was out, I had nothing else better to do than to annoy them. So I'm sure they're not happy, not just happy that I'm playing. They're probably happy that I'm not annoying them still. So I think the connectivity that they have as a staff, that we have as a group, is probably the main thing. Everybody's pulling in the same direction. Everybody wants the same goal. So when you got a team like that and a staff like that, it's very nice.
First of all, what did you think of Austin, having him back on the court?
For as long as he's been out, obviously, number one thing is rhythm, and then, your fatigue, how fast you get fatigued. So it's just a boost, for all of us, especially at the end of a road trip, to get a guy like that back. Obviously, his rhythm is a little off, but shit, he still made an impact, and just, happy to have him back.
some similarities to the game in Washington. You guys are just getting up and down and kind of scoring with ease. A lot of sprinting from you, certainly getting up and down in transition. What is the importance of that, and just kind of keep that foot on the pedal even if the other team isn't playing well?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all NBA teams, and we have to figure out a way how we can execute. And we wanted to finish the trip off on the right way. It's an 8-game road trip. Went 5-3. Had some games that we felt like we could have won. We could have had a better record. But at the end of the day, you play the game that's in front of you, and we did that close to 48 minutes.
You're obviously focused in game mode, but at the end, when Bronny comes in, you hear the chants and everything. Do you allow yourself kind of to just switch into dad mode for a little bit and enjoy it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's had my wife sitting courtside, and us being able to have that moment, for our son. It was pretty cool. It's always been love and respect to, the Brooklyn fans every time I come here, and for them to show that to my son and, his development and the way he continues to, develop his game. I thought it's a pride moment we will never forget for sure for me and my wife. It was pretty cool.
LeBron, in 20 years, when people are going to talk about LeBron James, the man, and LeBron James, the athlete, what do you want this name and this legacy to stand for?
My legacy is my kids. That's the most important. My kids, my community, my family. That's all that matters to me. The basketball, things of that nature, obviously, has given me an unbelievable platform to be able to do the things that I love to do, and give me some opportunity to, inspire the youth and things over the last, 23 years, 2 decades plus. But, for me personally, my legacy is that, is going to go through my kids, go through my community, and the things that I do to continue to inspire. So. It will be talked through other folks, and hopefully in a good way.
JJ told us that he thought around this time last year is when that team found its stride and was able to kind of get to another level for the remainder of the season. Have you seen any signs from this year's group that perhaps there's a sustainable success around the corner, and maybe some of those building blocks they were shown on this road trip?
Just want to get healthy. We want to get healthy, and tonight was pretty much the first time we had, everybody in the lineup, and everybody healthy. Obviously, we're still missing our rook. Our rook is still coming back, but we're getting close to healthy, and we'll see what happens.
LeBron, at 41, you just played all 8 games on an 8-game road trip. You talked Cleveland about being in the moment, and it felt like on this trip there were a handful of kind of moments you'll carry with you. What were some of the things that stood out just about these past 8 games, and whether it be going back home or the Garden or any of that stuff that you think you'll carry with you?
I'll look back on it, when I'm done playing, and my last, it's just, one of the second to last or third to last games in Cleveland. I remember that moment, just being out, obviously Bronny getting that moment too in Cleveland. Obviously the moment tonight, being in the Garden is always special. There's no way to, shy away from that. It's been a great road trip. It's been cold as hell. I know that. I remember that more than anything. We played some good basketball. And then for me to be able, like I said, enjoy these moments, for him to be able to get into a lot of these games and play the way he's been playing, it's pretty cool for me.
You had to navigate so many trade deadlines. With this team being on this road trip, the whole roster, how do you feel like the group came together over the course of these 2 weeks? Not even thinking about that.
Listen, at the end of the day, we're all professionals. We got a job to do no matter what's going on, no matter what the outside noise is talking about. We come together, we prepare, for each and every game, and we go out and try to help each other, and that's what we've been doing.
Jake, is starting in tonight's game some similarities maybe to the Washington game where you guys just got going early and built a big lead? How were we able to sustain that, and what kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I thought after we got that initial lead, we kind of just stay with it. We never, let off the gas pedal, which is sometimes, it's hard to play with a lead sometimes. You kind of get, complacent or lazy a little bit. And I think we just did a good job at staying together and just keeping our foot on the gas throughout the whole game.
What did you think of having Austin back, and how do you think that getting everybody close to healthy, going into these several games at home before the All-Star break can do for you?
Yeah, it's great to finally, see him back on the court. Obviously a big time player for us. So just really happy that, he's back out there on the court, after all the rehab he was, having to do. And, again, just a big impact player for us. So, now that we're getting back healthy, I think, we're really going to get back into the roll of things.
Jake, you guys went 5-3 on this Grammy trip. Just what can this trip do for the group moving forward, especially as you mentioned, like you guys getting healthier, getting Austin back? I think this is the first time in a while you've had pretty much the full rotation.
Yep. Very long trip, the longest, road trip that I've been on personally. I know it's something that they do every year, but just big time, honestly, for us to get this win to end the road trip. Good momentum going into these next 2 games with Philly and Warriors. So just good for us to be able to get back on this flight. It's a long flight, and if we would have lost, it would not have been as fun. So the fact that we won this game just gives us momentum, and again, Austin back in the lineup just gives us that full rotation, pretty much of everyone being healthy and everyone getting minutes and stuff like that, and being able to impact the game. So. Just really excited to see what this group can have, post All-Star and leading up to it.
To have Austin, Luka, and LeBron back playing together again, how does that change the team, the dynamics of it?
Yeah, we're just going to be, I think, a harder team to guard even than we usually are. Obviously, Austin brings a lot of scoring to the table, and there's some games where that's kind of been the struggle, where it's either been shooting or whatever it is. To be honest, I think our defense has been pretty good, these last couple of games with the zone that we've been running. So again, now adding Austin back to the team, and just another player where defenses have to draw a lot of attention to him. It's going to be really good for us.
Jake, you mentioned it was the longest trip that you've been on. Outside of the basketball part of it, what were some highlights for you? What was the best part of this trip now that you're finally going home?
Yeah, my wife came out here to New York. We watched a Broadway show, my first Broadway show for the first time, so that was pretty cool. But I'm very excited to get home. I dislike the cold weather in every city.
The game well, but the one thing that's going to feel really good now is to get home and get in your own bed later on tonight. It's a long road trip. It's a long road trip, Gator, and it's going to feel good. But they did what they needed to do. Obviously, they would have liked to pick up a couple more wins on this road trip. But to be able to finish with a win and getting Austin Reeves back on the floor just gives you another dimension of, healthiness for the team, confidence to know he's coming back. So when you get back home, you got a lot of games at home. You got Austin Reeves back. You try to turn this around and finish this half of the season on a strong note.
And Danny, at the end of an 8-game road trip, you could be tired, you could be thinking about getting home. You got to be impressed with the way they came out. And these kind of games are fun when you're on the squad. We had 12 different guys scoring.
Absolutely. I thought they would have more guys in double figures, but they came out high. It was a lot of fun for them. They got a chance to get everybody in dunks and assists and threes. It was just a fun game all around. They shot pretty well to start. They finished with 23% from 3, but 67 from the free throw line was one of the things I'm looking at, probably could have done better at. But to win this game handily and not playing your best basketball in the second half or whatever, and at the end of a road trip, I said I'll take 5 and 3. I know it would have been nice to be 6 and 2.
Yep, we'll talk about that in a minute.
But yeah, 5 and 3 is a good, and to finish off the road trip that way, it's good to go home on a high note.
Listen, Luka went for 24, LeBron 25. Laravia had a nice night with 18, but the big story is Austin Reeves returning, joining the big 3. We've only seen it 8 times this year. He played right at that mark, 21 minutes. He had 15 points, only hit the 1 3, 3 for 9 from the field. Hopefully they give him that assist when he threw it off the backboard for LeBron. Originally they didn't, but he had the 2 steals. He got to the line, James. It's just good to have him back. Even in a limited basis, him out there, it just looks right, and he makes a difference, even in when he's just kind of working his way back.
You know what it's like when a gym rat can't get in the gym? That's been Austin Reeves. He finally got back on the floor tonight. His play is exceptional. You know what he brings to the team. But another dimension that he brings to the team is just a band of brothers type thing. They like him around, Gator. He's just a good locker room guy on the bus, on the plane. He's been with them on this trip. I'm sure they get the same, kind of experience. But he's just a good person to have in the locker room. You want him on the floor, but he does bring those free throw attempts. He does bring those, he gets people in foul trouble. Even tonight, he was successful at manipulating the defense and doing what he needs to do to get the team up and get other guys involved. It is nice to have him back.
Yeah, second that. The biggest thing I think that he brings is the free throws dynamic. He's 8 of 10 tonight from the line. Even when he's not shooting and scoring well, he's going to get other team in foul trouble, make free throws. But outside of that, I said he has a great relationship with DeAndre and Jackson Hayes. Like that 2-man game, that pick and roll, they haven't done much of it tonight. But just his presence alone on the floor opens up the floor for everybody else. Like the game will be a lot easier for Jake LaRavia, a Marcus Smart, or a DeAndre Ayton or Jared Vanderbilt, whoever's on the floor with him when you have that third threat out there. So it also takes a lot off of Luka and LeBron. So that keeps them a little fresher and not as much pressure for them when they're on the court together. So, or carrying that offensive load. So it's going to take some time for him to get his feet under him and get that rhythm back. But once he gets there, it'll be a lot easier for everybody.
You've always been a great team player, Dan. You just led us right to the next thing, the big three, Luka and LeBron. You see the numbers right there, 24 for Luka, 25 for Bron, 15 and 21 minutes for Austin Reeves. Danny, I'll just stay with you on this one. I know Austin didn't start, but he did get minutes with those guys. He actually started the third quarter. What did you see when all three were on the court together?
Again, it's just the first game back. It's early to tell. It's kind of like when LeBron came back. You know, he was finding his rhythm. He was kind of playing quarterback and not being super aggressive. Austin, limited minutes, kind of the same. So I'm waiting until he, give him a couple. This is a great game for him to come back to kind of get those minutes. I'll wait for, game 4 or 5 where he's more in rhythm to be able to say, what I like to see, but I expect him to knock down that jump a little more. He only hit 1 3. He will continue to get to free throw line. But again, these three on the court together, I know we talk about their defensive lapses, but with the way they can score, their offense is their defense. They're able to slow teams down by how they can get people in foul trouble, slow down the game a little bit, control the tempo.
LeBron was not tired by the end of this road trip. I don't know how many dunks he had today. I think it was 3 or 4.
Didn't look it.
Absolute hammer dunks. But go ahead, James. Jump in on the big three and kind of what you saw and moving forward.
It's just nice to have the trio together. You're not going to help off of Austin Reeves. I don't know who else is in that position. You might be able to help out a little bit. That's one thing he's going to bring attention to details. And like you said, Danny just mentioned, he got to the line. I mean, he's just an exceptional, player. When he's on the floor, you really got to prepare for him. You got to prepare for LeBron, and Luka. And so when you have to do that for those three main players, that should open up the door for everybody else. So just having that third element back on the floor should open up things. I mean, Ayton really didn't really, get it done tonight because, why? You got the big three. But, yeah, he's going to open up a lot more opportunities for other people on the floor when you have that trio on the floor together.
Yeah, I mean, almost everybody scored tonight, with the exception of 2 guys. But that was from the start of the game. I think 9 guys in the first quarter be able to score a basket. And that was Luka kind of just being on cruise control, but finding everybody. It was one of those type of games. And then Austin came in. By the time he came in, party was already going. He was just trying to join in on the party, get his legs back under him. But it was a show all around, from Bron, Luka, Jackson Hayes even, getting some early dunks. You see Jake LaRavia there with the lob dunk. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I think it's only going to get better as time goes along.
This was maybe only their 3rd or 4th game with everyone available. It was only their 9th game with Austin, Luka, and LeBron available. But I think about LeBron on this road trip, big game. Played all 8 games. Very high level here at the end. Only 30 minutes tonight, 25, 10 for 16. 7 assists, the efficiency, but also it's just, for me, it's the energy and just kind of the way he started that game.
How are you going to retire after this?
Probably not, by the way.
Gator, his body of work. I mean, right now he's like a college guy playing against junior high kids. He's got all the knowledge up here. It's still hard for him at his age to keep this going, but when he's on the floor, he can make it easy just because of his knowledge. He, some of the backdoor cuts, the way he, takes advantage of people
Leaks
in
out.
the post.
Yeah,
sealing people for the long pass. He's just smart. It comes kind of easy for him, even though it's hard. They're going after an older man, but he's still getting up and down the floor like a young kid, man. It's amazing.
Angles.
Angles.
I mean, I think all 3 of them, Luka, just how he gets people in foul trouble. Yeah. Austin's learning it, but just his knowledge of how to use his body and cutting off angles and his strength. He doesn't have to use athleticism all the time, but he still can, which is unbelievable, to use have the athleticism at his age to do it.
I want to get your guys' thoughts on just kind of the team overall on this road trip. You get Austin back at the end, 5-3. We probably would have loved 6-2. I felt like the losses on the back end, Cleveland and New York, you really wanted to get one of those, obviously both, but one of those would have been great because 6-2 would have had a different feel for it. But they do pick up their 30th win. I think their 8th or 9th best record in the league right now. They're in that 6th spot, but just a couple of games out of 4, just a few games up from 8. So it's just like last year, everything's kind of congested, but they're returning home for 8 games, and you have 6 before the All-Star break. And then you know, on the backside, you're at home still with like Clippers, Orlando, and Boston. So these are tough games. You got San Antonio, OKC, Warriors, Dallas, Philly on Thursday night. Yes, you're at home, but this is a big stretch coming up.
Yeah, home doesn't guarantee you anything. Obviously, we've seen that before. We saw Charlotte come in here with a bunch of young players. 5-3 is better than 4-4.
For sure,
Okay?
for sure.
4-4 doesn't sound that great. 5-3, okay.
Big win against Denver.
Okay, we're good. But you do, with these 6 games, Geeta, I got to tell you, JJ and the coaching staff, I'm sure they're going to be re-emphasizing the fact that, look, guys, we need to go out strong here. If we could go out 5-1 and to the All-Star game, that would be awesome. Set a goal now and practice for it, and because these are critical games. You're sitting in that, they're still in the 6th spot?
Yeah, I think it's now 5 left, my fault. Tonight is 6. 5 left, yeah.
5, 6.
And then All-Star break, then 3.
Yeah, you can't afford to give up any games right now. You got to get 1 or 2 back that you gave up on the road. You know, you lost a couple you should have won. You got to take care of home, try to win all these games, get the momentum going so that when you come back, it'll already be here.
I mean, even getting a split with OKC and San Antonio.
For sure. But also, we got to factor in this trade deadline time right now. A lot of teams don't look the same as what they are. So the team that you lost to, that Clippers team, is not the same. So you have a chance now to build some games up while they're trying to get healthy, because they did get Darius Garland today. Yeah. I don't know if he's able to be active and playing right away. They actually play each other in a day or so, the Clippers in Cleveland. So that'll be an interesting one. But yeah, there's some other teams that are making some waves and making moves. So we'll see what it looks like.
All right, time to hear from Coach JJ Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealer.
But how did you feel like Austin looked physically? How was he moving, and how, as you try to figure out these lineups now, how did some of that experimentation go tonight as you saw him with different groups?
Yeah, I thought he moved great and looked like Austin. You know, he had 3 or 4 really good looks in the first half that didn't go down, but did a nice job of attacking the basket, getting to the free throw line. You know, it says he had 1 assist. Does it say 1 assist? Yeah. I didn't realize throwing the ball off the backboard to a teammate is not considered assist anymore, but you know, I think that you know, is emblematic of, you know, just he just wants to play, and he wants to, you know, be a good teammate, and certainly give LeBron a highlight and give the fans a highlight. But he played great. In terms of just the lineups, yeah, you know, just wanted to try to keep everybody's rotation essentially the same, you know, while eating away at 20 minutes essentially. And then, you know, with the way the game was going, you know, felt just like let's get his minutes, you know, make sure he gets his 20 minutes. So that's why we started him. That was the plan before the game, but, you know, felt like that was the right thing to do in that situation.
Are we really supposed to believe that the Los Angeles Lakers, fresh off a dominant 125-109 victory over the Brooklyn Nets, where they led by 39 points at halftime and scored 45 points in the first quarter alone, somehow represent a franchise with serious internal dysfunction and locker room discord that multiple NBA analysts claim is spiraling out of control under JJ Redick's increasingly desperate leadership attempts? How does a team that just obliterated Brooklyn from the opening tip, with LeBron James looking spry enough to throw down multiple dunks at age 41, and Luka Doncic efficiently contributing 24 points, while Austin Reeves seamlessly returned from his 19-game absence to score 15 points in just 21 minutes, simultaneously exist as both a basketball juggernaut capable of 69 first-half points and an organizational disaster where the head coach has allegedly lost the ears of the locker room. According to Kendrick Perkins, Kenyon Martin, and virtually every ESPN personality with access to a microphone, the timing of these contradictory narratives couldn't be more perfect, arriving exactly 48 hours before Thursday's 3 p.m. ET trade deadline, when every story gets amplified, every slight gets magnified, and every personnel decision becomes either a stroke of genius or an organizational malpractice, depending on whether the Lakers win by 16 or lose by 2. Creating a media ecosystem that somehow makes beating a terrible Brooklyn team by double digits feel like both validation of their championship potential and evidence of their fundamental mediocrity because they didn't win by 30 instead of merely 16 points. If you're tired of media narratives that change faster than Los Angeles traffic patterns and think the Lakers should focus on basketball rather than managing public perception, hit that like button, because apparently we need to send clearer signals than a 1-5 109 road victory to get anyone's attention in this city. Let's start with the most obvious development that somehow got buried beneath layers of manufactured drama about coaching authority and player respect, which is that Austin Reeves actually returned to the court and immediately reminded everyone why his absence felt longer than a Marvel movie marathon, contributing 15 points in 21. While looking comfortable enough to knock down three-pointers and facilitate offense like he'd never been away from the team for nearly 3 weeks. The fact that JJ Redick put him on a minutes restriction showed exactly the type of careful management that should be praised rather than scrutinized. Yet somehow even this obviously correct decision will probably get twisted into evidence that Redick doesn't trust his players or lacks the confidence to play his best available lineup, because that's apparently how sports analysis works in 2026, where every coaching decision gets evaluated through the lens of imaginary psychological warfare rather than basic injury prevention and rotation management. The most encouraging aspect of Reeves' return wasn't just his individual production, but how seamlessly he integrated back into the offensive flow alongside Luka and LeBron, creating exactly the type of three-headed playmaking monster that should terrify opposing defenses and excite Lakers fans who've been waiting months to see this combination at full strength, assuming they can stay healthy long enough for anyone to remember what peak Lakers basketball actually looks like. What makes this even more promising is that Reeves accomplished this level of immediate impact while clearly being rusty from his extended absence, missing his first 5 three-point attempts before finally connecting and looking slightly tentative on drives where he was. Probably still thinking about his calf rather than just playing instinctive basketball, suggesting that his ceiling when fully comfortable could be even higher than what we witnessed during Brooklyn's systematic destruction. I believe having Austin Reeves back fundamentally changes the Lakers' ceiling and floor, providing the type of reliable secondary creation that allows both superstars to play more efficiently while also giving JJ Redick actual lineup flexibility rather than being forced to play suboptimal combinations due to injury-related roster limitations. Though knowing this organization's relationship with injury management, they'll probably find a way to mess up his reintegration process through either overcaution or reckless overuse depending on which mistake feels more Lakers-like on any given day. The locker room drama that apparently threatens to tear apart the fabric of Lakers basketball reached soap opera levels of absurdity this week, with former players, current analysts, and random NBA personalities forming a chorus of criticism aimed at JJ Redick's public comments and coaching approach. As if calling out professional athletes for lack of effort represents some kind of revolutionary breach of basketball etiquette that's never happened before in the history of competitive sports. Kendrick Perkins claiming that Redick has lost the ears of the locker room, specifically regarding role players like DeAndre Ayton, sounds serious until you remember that the Lakers just won a road game by 16 points with contributions from throughout their roster, making you wonder if perhaps these locker room sources exist primarily in the imagination of television personalities who need content to feel 24 hours of programming rather than actual dysfunction visible to anyone watching the games themselves. Kenyon Martin's assertion that them dudes don't respect you, directed at Redick, seems particularly rich coming from someone who presumably hasn't been inside the Lakers locker room recently enough to conduct comprehensive respect surveys among current players, yet somehow feels qualified to diagnose interpersonal dynamics from his television studio, like a remote psychological evaluation conducted through ESPN highlight reels and Twitter speculation. The irony of Mike Malone criticizing Redick for creating noise by addressing issues publicly reaches peak entertainment value when you consider that Malone made these comments on national television, literally creating more noise about the alleged noise problem while simultaneously contributing to exactly the type of media circus that he claims Lakers should avoid, like a fire department that accidentally sets buildings ablaze while explaining proper fire safety procedures. Draymond Green's more measured take that different teams have varying dynamics and that the Lakers are 4th place in the West, after 30 games at least, acknowledges basketball reality rather than inventing crisis narratives. But even he felt compelled to weigh in on another team's coaching approach, as if NBA players across the league hold weekly committee meetings to evaluate their colleagues' management styles and provide peer review feedback. What's most ridiculous about this entire manufactured controversy is that none of these external critics seem to consider the possibility that maybe, just maybe, calling out professional athletes for inconsistent effort might actually work when those athletes respond by dominating their next opponent by double digits on the road, almost as if accountability and results could somehow be connected in ways that television analysis occasionally misses between commercial breaks. The victory itself showcased exactly why external noise about coaching authority and player respect feels manufactured when measured against actual basketball performance, with the Lakers controlling the game from the opening possession and building their lead systematically through superior execution on both ends of the court rather than relying on individual heroics or opposing team incompetence to carry them through 48 minutes. LeBron James scoring 25 points while throwing down multiple dunks at Barclays Center demonstrated the type of veteran leadership and physical dominance that probably matters more to teammates than whatever post-game comments JJ Redick made after previous losses, especially when those dunks come in the context of a wire-to-wire road victory against a team that needed to be handled professionally rather than taken lightly. Luka Doncic's efficient 24 points on balance shooting reminded everyone why the Lakers traded significant assets to acquire him exactly 1 year ago, providing exactly the type of consistent superstar production that championship teams require, while making the offense look effortless, even when playing without full chemistry, due to extended absences from key rotation players. Jake LaRavia's 18-point contribution off the bench provides perfect evidence for why starting him over Marcus Smart makes sense from a development and production standpoint, especially when he's contributing meaningfully in games that matter rather than just looking promising during garbage time or practice sessions that nobody watches except coaching staff and player development specialists. The fact that the Lakers shot 24-25 to start the game suggests a level of focus and preparation that directly contradicts narratives about coaching dysfunction or player disengagement, because teams don't accidentally achieve that level of shooting efficiency without significant attention to detail and execution that typically requires, players actually listening to their coaches and implementing game plans successfully. Michael Porter Jr. 21 points and 10 rebounds for Brooklyn, along with Day'Ron Sharpe's 19 points and 14 rebounds, demonstrate that the Nets actually tried to compete and had individual players perform well, enough to avoid complete embarrassment, making the Lakers' dominance more impressive than if they had simply beaten a team that gave up before the opening tip. I believe this type of complete performance against professional opposition matters more than whatever anonymous sources tell us about theoretical respect issues that conveniently disappear whenever actual games get played and actual results get produced by actual basketball players who seem remarkably capable of performing their jobs regardless of their supposed feelings about coaching, communication styles. The timing of Austin Reeves' return couldn't be more perfect from both a basketball and organizational psychology standpoint, providing the Lakers with their most complete roster in months, just as trade deadline speculation reaches fever pitch in external criticism of coaching. Authority threatens to create actual problems where none previously existed through sheer repetition and media amplification. Having Reeves available fundamentally changes how the Lakers can approach the next 48 hours of trade negotiations, since they now know exactly what their ceiling looks like with their intended starting lineup, healthy and contributing at expected levels, allowing them to make more informed decisions about which upgrades are actually necessary versus which moves represent luxury additions that might not justify their acquisition costs. The fact that Reeves looked immediately comfortable alongside Luka and LeBron should reassure any front office executives who might have worried about chemistry issues or integration problems after such an extended absence, especially considering how seamlessly all three players shared playmaking responsibilities and created scoring opportunities for teammates throughout the game. JJ Redick's decision to limit Reeves to 21 minutes demonstrated exactly the type of cautious player management that should be applauded rather than interpreted as evidence of coaching uncertainty or lack of trust in player conditioning, because protecting a recently returned star from re-injury represents basic common sense rather than organizational weakness that requires explanation or justification. The Lakers finishing their road trip with a 5-3 record despite missing Austin Reeves for the entire 8-game stretch actually makes their upcoming deadline decisions less desperate, since they've proven capable of winning games even without their second-best playmaker, giving them negotiating leverage with potential trade partners who might have assumed Los Angeles was operating from a position of weakness due to injuries and inconsistent performance. What's particularly encouraging is how different players stepped up during various games of the road trip, suggesting that the Lakers have more depth and versatility than their critics acknowledge, though this positive development will probably get overshadowed by whatever manufactured controversy emerges between now and Thursday afternoon, when actual roster moves either happen or don't happen based on basketball evaluation rather than television commentary about respect dynamics and communication styles. The most important aspect of Reeves' successful return is what it tells us about the Lakers' championship ceiling when healthy. Because having 3 legitimate playmakers who can create for themselves and others transforms them from a team dependent on individual brilliance into a genuine offensive system capable of sustained success against elite competition, assuming they can avoid the type of injury luck that has plagued them throughout various stretches of this season. Speaking of trade deadline implications, the victory over Brooklyn provides exactly the type of performance that should influence how aggressively the Lakers pursue remaining targets, especially when they demonstrated the ability to dominate inferior competition without needing heroic individual efforts or lucky shooting nights to secure comfortable victories. The fact that multiple Lakers players contributed meaningfully suggests they have more internal solutions than external observers recognize. Though this doesn't necessarily mean they should avoid all upgrade opportunities if the right deals present themselves at reasonable prices during the next 47 hours of frenzied negotiations. Daron Sharpe's 19 points and 14 rebounds for Brooklyn actually hurt the Lakers' chances of acquiring him affordably, since productive performances in high-profile games tend to increase asking prices rather than convince teams to sell low on developing talent that contributes immediately when given opportunities, creating exactly the type of market inefficiency that smart organizations should have exploited before players demonstrate their value on national television. Michael Porter Jr. A solid performance despite Brooklyn's blowout loss serves as a reminder that individual talent often persists even on terrible teams, making players from rebuilding organizations potentially attractive trade targets if they can be acquired without surrendering core rotation pieces or premium draft assets that might be needed for summer moves. The Lakers' ability to control pace and build a massive early lead while playing on the road demonstrates exactly the type of professional approach that championship teams require when facing theoretically inferior competition, suggesting they've learned from earlier season struggles against teams they should beat comfortably rather than allowing opponents to hang around and potentially steal victories through late game execution or lucky bounces. What's most encouraging is how the Lakers managed the game after building their huge halftime lead, maintaining focus and execution standards rather than coasting through the final 24 minutes and allowing Brooklyn to make the final score look more competitive than the actual game flow justified, showing the type of maturity and attention to detail that often separates good teams from great teams when margins become thinner during playoff basketball. I believe this performance should give Rob Pelinka more confidence to be selective in deadline negotiations, rather than feeling pressured to make moves for the sake of making moves. Since the Lakers just demonstrated their capability against exactly the type of opponent they'll face regularly during the regular season's final stretch when every game matters and professional execution becomes non-negotiable. Regardless of opposition quality or external expectations about dominant performances, the broader implications of Tuesday night's dominant victory extend far beyond simple wins and losses, potentially serving as the catalyst that transforms external narratives about dysfunction and coaching authority into recognition that maybe, just maybe, the Lakers know what they're doing better than television personalities who create content by manufacturing crises that disappear whenever actual basketball games get played successfully. The fact that players responded to JJ Redick's recent public criticism with their most complete performance in weeks suggests that whatever locker room problems exist in the imagination of ESPN analysts don't necessarily translate into on-court dysfunction when professional. Athletes focus on executing game plans rather than nursing wounded feelings about coaching communication styles. LeBron James throwing down dunks at age 41 while contributing 25 points in a road blowout victory sends a pretty clear message about his engagement level and commitment to team success, directly contradicting suggestions that he's somehow mentally checked out or undermining coaching authority through passive-aggressive behavior or body language that exists primarily in the perception of observers who seem determined to find problems regardless of actual evidence. The seamless integration of Austin Reeves after 3 weeks away demonstrates organizational competence in player development and injury management, areas where the Lakers have been criticized heavily but seem to have handled appropriately based on actual results rather than theoretical concerns about timeline optimization or recovery protocols that sound sophisticated, but don't necessarily improve outcomes. Jake LaRavia's continued development and meaningful contributions provide exactly the type of young player growth that championship organizations require for sustained success. Yet his progress gets overlooked whenever media narratives focus on manufactured drama about veteran player respect and coaching authority rather than actual basketball improvement. That happens through consistent work and opportunity creation. The Lakers' systematic dismantling of Brooklyn from the opening possession through the final buzzer represents professional basketball execution at its most effective, creating the type of comprehensive victory that should generate confidence rather than finding new reasons to question coaching, decisions, or organizational direction. Though somehow even dominant wins get twisted into evidence of underlying problems when analysts need content to justify their television contracts and social media, engagement, metrics. What's most frustrating about the external noise surrounding this team is how it obscures legitimate basketball analysis in favor of storylines that have limited connection to actual game results or championship probability, making it harder for fans to evaluate real strengths and weaknesses while getting distracted by manufactured controversies that exist primarily to fill programming hours rather than provide meaningful insight into team construction or coaching effectiveness. I believe the Lakers should use this convincing victory as evidence that their core approach works when executed properly, giving them confidence to make deadline decisions based on basketball evaluation rather than media pressure or external criticism from people who don't actually have to coach NBA players or manage organizational dynamics beyond creating content that generates discussion regardless of its accuracy or relevance to championship pursuit in professional basketball environments. The next 47 hours represent either the Lakers' final opportunity to capitalize on this momentum and make meaningful roster improvements, or their last chance to explain why maintaining theoretical flexibility mattered more than practical enhancement. When championship-level opportunities remained available for teams willing to act decisively rather than analyze every possible outcome until all options disappear into the ether of overthinking and missed deadlines that haunt organization. Throughout the summer months, when they're forced to explain their inaction to disappointed fans who watched better teams make bolder moves,